Teacher welfare as we look ahead to World Teachers Day, and the teacher indeed grooms all of us to be what we are, to be where we are today. It is because of the teacher, and we look at how the teacher is surviving in this VUCA environment that Zimbabwe finds itself, that is highly volatile and unpredictable, and with economic challenges facing and bedeviling the country. And the teacher gets to be really affected and is not spared by the economic challenges that Zimbabwe is faced with. And it is with great pleasure that I introduced our guest this morning. That is the Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Teachers Association, the biggest teacher organization in Zimbabwe, Mr. Sifiso Ndlovu. It's a very good morning and welcome to Classic 263 on the Grill.
Good morning, Valentine, and good morning, listeners.
Mr. Ndlovu, let's start by looking at this year's theme of World Teachers Day and how it fits in into the celebrations for Zimbabwe, looking at the current situation that we find our economy in, that has highly affected the teacher today, but despite all the challenges, how the Zimbabwean teacher has remained resolute and continues to deliver within the classroom.
First, Valentine, let me thank you for bringing us to this edition of Morning Grill, and most importantly, to talk about the teachers, the future of this country, and this is the young teachers. You asked what is the theme. The theme is young teachers, the future of the teaching profession. And this is what we are focusing on today as teachers, as we look forward to addressing the problems that face education in general and the teachers in particular, with a specific focus on the young teachers that are already in the field and those who are aspiring to come to join us in the field. World Teachers Day, as we come to know it, comes on the 5th. And we will be marking it on different dates in Zimbabwe because we are in the examination season, and we have deliberately postponed the celebrations and the commemorations in our various districts so that we can accommodate at least and provide a serene environment for the teachers and also the students to continue their examination period. But then what is important about the World Teachers Day is that it is celebrating, or it's a commemoration that recognizes the anniversary, as we come to it, to know it that was signed on the 5th of October in 1966 by International Labour Organization and UNESCO on the recommendation of the status of teachers, which status is addressing quite a number of sub-recommendations, amongst them the recruitment and the retention of teachers in schools, and also the conditions of service that teachers work under, in addition to other professional recommendations that were included there. Our focus today is on the recruitment and retention of young teachers, where we are experiencing quite a number of young teachers leaving the profession. Meaning, therefore, if we lose the young teachers, the profession is doomed. Meaning that the nation itself is doomed when it does not have a renewal process of getting dedicated young teachers who are well motivated and supported. And that is what we are giving the country to focus on very well. This is the challenge that we're facing.
Having said that, focusing on the young teacher, obviously there are so many challenges that the teacher today is faced with and seized with. Let's look at the recruitment of teachers themselves. Most of them, they are there in teacher institutions graduating, but they're finding it difficult to get the employment. Hence, you find the young teacher moving away from the profession to try something else, as well so as to seek employment, which is a huge challenge that you're faced with. How is that really affected, and how are you trying to mitigate and talk to government to open up the spaces for the young teacher to find a space within the teaching profession?
Yes, our role, like you say, is to mitigate. Our role is to intervene. Our role is to intercede on behalf of the teachers to government, so that government can respond to the needs of the teaching profession. But what is now important is for us to come back to say, what is making government say it is failing? Government is saying that we don't have enough resources to employ educators. But at the same time, government has launched a reviewed curriculum, which is an updated curriculum, which requires that we bring teachers in their numbers, in their droves into the system. But we find ourselves not able to get those numbers, and that is now compromising the quality of education. It is not only compromising the quality of education, it's compromising the inclusivity of the same education. It is compromising the issue of equitable distribution of education to our societies. It is a bad thing for the state, it's a bad thing for the future, and a bad thing for the profession. So we are saying to government, put your acts together, get the economy working, and get the teachers back into the classroom. That is where they belong, not in the streets out there looking for a job or looking for other menial duties to do so that they can survive. That is not good for our country. That is how we've been putting the word across to government. And the response has been very minimal, as you must have heard that during 2019, only up to about 3,000 teachers out of the demand that we had looked forward, estimated to about 18,000 according to our own statistics as Zimbabwe Teacher Association. We needed about 18,000 teachers to be in the system, but government only took in 3,000 this year in the batches that they were taking them in. So that was quite an insignificant drop into the demand that we are seeing on the ground. And that is affecting our system now. So quality of education is affected. Inclusive education is affected. Equitable education, our access to education is affected. So it makes it inequitous to have this kind of arrangement.
You've touched on three important pillars in terms of education, that is the quality, inclusivity, and the equity of our education system. And we find the teacher gets affected as well in terms of being resourced. And looking at the conditions that the teachers find themselves in terms of inclusivity. We look at the gap that exists between the rural teacher and the urban teacher. We also want to look at the resources between the rural teacher as well as the urban teacher in terms of being equipped with the right tools to fulfill the challenging new curriculum, as you have mentioned, so that the quality of education is improved. What are you doing in your advocacy to try and make sure that inclusivity is possible, equality is also achieved, and the quality of education is top-notch?
The first and most important point would be for us to get government to get into a policy which becomes a national policy for inclusive education to remain effective. This, yes, has been done through the Constitution, and that the education has become a right. That in this case is the first step that government did. And that was fought over years for us to recognize education. But the most important thing is the funding of the education system. The funding of the education system means that we should have a sustainable state-funded education which does not differentiate between urban and rural. And that is the first approach that we're encouraging. And that can only come by making sure that the budget that we launch or the budgets that we bring up are living up to the expectations of the nation in terms of providing education in both rural and urban setups. This is the continued advocacy effort that we've been putting and lobbying government to attend to. Yes, there has been an attempt to do so through various means and partnerships. And we have seen in 2019, for example, close to about 17 new schools being constructed, and modern schools that are very, very, very attractive and have got good and serene environment for education to proceed in those areas. That's a small drop, because remember a few years back, that is about 2017, we estimated the shortfall of schools to over 2,000. This must have increased now to more than 2,000, given that we have not been picking up the pace in providing more schools to our learners and also more teachers to those schools. So that is an issue that is still under our focus, and we have a sustained campaign on that, and we could keep on talking about it, because if we drop the ball, then somebody may sleep on duty and forget about it. But then let us talk about the issue of funding. The funding aspect now talks to the issues of salaries and conditions of service. And this is where we have a problem in an economy which, from my own analysis, given the research that we've done at ZIMTA, is now hovering over 500% in terms of inflation. And we are estimating that by the end of the year, about 800% will be the inflation rate of this country, meaning that the purchasing power of the salaries that teachers got in August will be meaningless. So we are coming with, that is why we rejected the offer that was given to us, the 74% that was given to teachers, and 76% in some other parts of some other groups of the civil servants. When we rejected that, we were informed by the processes that were already undertaken in research, which were indicating that that was far from the correct level. So the teacher is going to be seeing themselves again moonlighting, which is bad for education, and the moral will be down, and the psychological position of the teacher will be down, and that is bad for our children. This is where we're saying, let us address the issues of salaries, and we continuously talk about salaries because this has become a perennial problem and a thorn in our flesh, and we continue to say, government, can you please attend to that? And this is what we are saying even today. We still appeal to the Minister of Finance to make sure that he does not only wait for his monetary statements to announce the positive developments for education, but he should also be reviewing the educators' salaries almost on a bi-monthly or monthly basis. That would be very grateful if we have to do so. But now we are slowly losing confidence in the stabilization policy that we have seen, because we don't seem to be coming out of the mud. We seem to be stuck, and this is what teachers are saying to us. We're not happy at all. To make matters worse, there are some other man-made problems that put on pressure on the teachers to pump out money again from their meager salaries. Of most recent is the issue of the BVR, which is the biometric registration that has been launched by public service. Again, it is being insisted on us by the World Bank. But at the same time, the funding for that exercise is inadequate. Inadequate in the sense that we cannot reach the teachers where they are. We are expecting the teachers to travel to registration centers. And when they travel to registration centers, they still have to pay money to get themselves registered so that they get their biometric details taken into the database. That is bad, because in some instances they have to pay $50.
But have you engaged the government and the funders to this effect? Because I see it's going to eat the little salary that the teacher has in her pocket or in his pocket right now.
We've made this known to the authorities. We've made this known also to the service ministry. The other authorities being the Public Service Commission. And the little that they did was to postpone so that they don't disturb the examination, which was our major concern, that droves of teachers were now going out from schools to attend to biometric and leaving classes unattended, and at the same time leaving the examination system unattended, which is bad for the quality of our examination. And they have responded by extending that and in taking consideration that teachers must now go in bits and drabs so that they can register. Our point of contention is not only in the disturbance of the lessons, but it's also in the disturbance in the pocket and the value of the money that teachers have at the present moment. So we insist on Public Service Commission to addressing this problem, because we cannot push the mismanagement of the public service back to the teachers as if they were the ones who committed the crime of either over-enrolling in the public service or employing in the public service and creating dubious numbers. And that is not good for us. If they are checking on those numbers, why not have a system which is user-friendly, which is considerate, and which is economically friendly to the pockets of those whom they must account for? It is their duty. And so the funders must take into consideration that we are having an economy which is not fair, and therefore if they intend to help us, they should help us all the way through.
This is The Grill, and today we are hosting, this is the Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Teachers Association, Mr. Sifiso Ndlovu, as we look at, in celebration of the World Teachers Day, and we look at the teacher welfare in Zimbabwe, and we'll also be opening up our lines to our listeners so that you come in with your contributions as well, right here on The Grill. And before that, let's just take a short break, and we'll be back after these messages right here on The Breakfast Grill.
What country you from? What ain't no country I ever heard of? They speak English and what? Say what again? Say what again? again. I dare you. I double
For
dare
the
you.
hottest topic, it is the grill with Monika Chanda and Valentine mabhugu.
It's that time of the year again. Spirit Praise Worship Team presents One Voice on Gospel Concert Season 4 live DVD recording. The Gathering of Champions special ministration from Minister Martin PK from South Africa. Tekshu Azama, Osinachi Nokachuku from Nigeria, and seminar teachings by Apostle Jara. More than 20 church praise and worship teams will also perform. Advance tickets are available on *127#. And for more information, contact Pastor Lenny on 0772 739 442 or 0775 220804. Welcome back to the grill. Right here on the Breakfast Drive, where we're hosting the Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Teachers Association, Zinta, Mr. Sifiso Ndlovu. And this year's theme for World Teachers Day focuses on the young teacher. And Zimbabwe is really affected in terms of recruiting the young teacher, because the young teacher is no longer available in the classroom or is not getting in the employment that he would have trained for. Those are some of the challenges the Zimbabwean teacher is seized with. And today, we wanted to look at the welfare of the teacher and what can be done and what is being done to improve the welfare of the Zimbabwean teacher. Right, before I open up our lines, Mr. Ndlovu, let's get into an issue that I think is quite pertinent and important when we assess the quality of Zimbabwean education. That is the new curriculum, how this has been embraced, and how the Zimbabwean teacher is equipped to see its fulfillment and success, and also looking at do we have the teachers that are upgraded to deliver the new curriculum with its demands that it comes with.
Yes, earlier on when we were dealing with the issues and the problems, I mentioned that some of the problems are man-made. And one of the problems that is man-made is the issue of continuous professional development for educators, so that we can have these educators properly inducted, properly mentored, and given the professional space and freedom to exercise this academic enterprise. What we have now is a system where we launched a continuous professional development program through various universities. This was a state-funded program, and many of our teachers joined in there, and they went into these universities, which, by the way, are like para-statals in a way, and they operate in an autonomic way, which we cannot, autonomous way rather, which we cannot interfere with when they demand school fees. Now, our teachers who went there now found themselves without their fees paid. And what that meant was they either drop or they have their results withheld. And what does that mean? We cannot quantify the numbers that the universities have given us through that program of continuous professional development. We are therefore encouraging government to say this policy of continuous professional development must be part of the teacher's professional menu as he enters the profession. And young teachers get frustrated when they cannot see this career pathway, because they have to see, where will I be in the next 10 years? Am I properly mentored to advance myself in education so that I can also become responsible, have higher responsibilities when I get to the right age of that? That is frustrating. So I say it's man-made because we have failed to uphold that program, which was aimed at meeting the demands of the new curriculum by improving the teacher quality. So we have therefore a problem in that area. We are expecting the teachers who had a yesteryear orientation to adjust and adapt to the new curriculum needs without going through proper mentoring and training. This is lacking. What has been done are short stints of introduction to the curriculum, which are insufficient for a sustained and growth of this education system.
Quite a difficult times indeed, and we certainly hope improvements will be noted, and government will play its part in taking care of the teacher today, and encourage even the young teacher to take teaching as a profession and not as a springboard to other professions. And this is the time I open up the lines as well. If you want to contribute and share with us your contributions, they're most welcome. We'll love them right here on the Breakfast Drive. Welcome. You can get in touch with us on 0719 498651. 0719 498651. That is our WhatsApp platform. It's already congested, and it's more messages are coming in. Keep them coming. We'll welcome them. I'll try to read as many as possible. You can come through live on our landline number 0242 498651. 0242 498651. That's the number you can get in touch with us right here on the Breakfast Drive. This is the grill right here on Classic 260. Let's take our first message and ask our guest to take note of these messages. I'll read quite a few and then you'll respond to them. This one says the only thing that will attract young people to join this department of teaching, it was the way in which our government was treating our senior teachers. But with what is happening to the teachers since the year 2000 up to date, it has killed the zeal of more younger people who want to join or who were interested in this department, because this job of teaching has been neglected in our country, yet very important. Our government doesn't care about them at all, and there's people suffering. But our government, it seems that they are taking care of soldiers more than teachers, because we all know that soldiers are keeping our government in power. And this one says, teacher associations ndio asina kurongeka, and makawandisa today vamwe vanotaura this, vamwe this, muna direction. Voice renyu harina power. Bad Delphi in Chi-Town. Thank you very much, Bad Delphi. Do all teachers, what stops today's teacher from imparting good manners, Wunu or Ubuntu, in school children to make sure they make a society that respects and does not belittle the adult population, which isn't necessarily part of their own family systems? I'm sure there are no laws against that. Do all teachers, including newly qualified ones, enjoy the duty-free benefit for vehicle importation? Thank you very much for that contribution. This one says, morning. Will Mr. Ndlovu shed light on what is being done about salary anomalies for teachers? Currently, some of the most senior teachers are 2 or so ranks below the ceiling, while those junior to them have reached the ceiling. 0242 498651. Let's take our first caller. Radio, good morning. Lost our caller. Keep trying. 0242 498651. 0242 498651. Radio, good morning. Yes, how are you, sir? Oh my goodness. Just when he had said morning to us, and we lost him there. 0242 498651. Keep trying. 0242 498651. Let's take the call. Radio, good morning. Hello, good morning. Yes, how are you, sir?
Vauraya ngozi vanhu vanodzidzisa vana vedu kuchikoro, isusu tiri kubhadhira mafees, mari yedu iri kurohwa neinflation. Ticha wacho mari yake iri kurohwa neinflation times 4 every month, ngozi dzidzo riri kukwira ka4, which means dzidzo rikakwira ka4 pamwedzi, kunoti mari yake yatorohwa neinflation times 4. Kubva kumafuta achakwira times 4, transport ichakwira times 4, mapicking needs acho ese achakwira times 4. Apa the same person yeye tutomuraya pfungwa dzake kuti anonodzidzisa sei kana iye achirangarira kuti mwana wangu ari kutazaenda boarding. Ticha otadza kuindisa mwana wake boarding, otadza kuindisa mwana wake kuuniversity. Iye ari ticha ari kudzidzisa mwana wangu. Anofanira kunge ari munhu anotobatwa zvakanaka zvinezvi. Mabatiro anongoita madoctors nemanesi ndo mabatiro anofanirwa kungoita kuti kumaticha. Because vanhu vanoshandisa pfungwa pakudzidzisa mwana. saka pfungwa dzacho kana dzisiri settled zvinhu zvacho hazvifambi zvakanaka. So it's an appeal to the government kuti inofanira kuti ikurumidze iite speed up zvimwe zvinhu because iye zvinonyange vakada kuvatambirisa 1000 chero vakatanga kuvatambirisa 2000 neinflation makwira iri kuita next month inenge yatova kutoda kana 5000 kuti zvifambe because imimi kuti gare shuwa ticha achitambira less than $1000 iyo 5 liters yemafuta ichiita $70 handizivi kuti teikida kuti ite sei kana kuti totokumbira vabvumi parents kuti panoenda vana vedu kuzvikoro.
Thank you very much for that contribution, quite a very passionate one as well, with a great concern. I'll give you the opportunity, Mr. Spanja, Mr. Dov rather, to respond to the contributions that have come through from our listeners. I think about 6 of those.
Thank you very much. I think the observations that I would like to link, the first one, which is the neglect of educators, and I link with the last speaker who has already raised an issue that there is a systematic neglect on the educators. That is the feeling that has now grown and getting down to be a strong perception amongst the educators that they've been neglected, and because they don't probably pose any security threat to anybody, then they should be not taken care or hid off. That's the perception that is growing amongst our educators. And we want to say that perception is wrong, because no nation can be bigger than its education system or bigger than its teachers. That is a fallacy. And anybody who is going in that route is generally leading this country to the doom. And we want to advise against that. The world trend now in developed countries and developing countries is that the educators are now treated almost in the same way as they treat the most revered modern professions like the engineering and doctors. If you were to go to Ireland and go to probably Scotland, go to Jamaica, go to Singapore, you will find that educators receive the same treatment as those modern professions. I say modern professions because teaching is the oldest profession, and it is a very strong profession that is a founder of all other professions. That is what we emphasize. And I want to thank the last caller because he has shown that the parents are with the teachers in understanding this. And their involvement doesn't go unrecognized by the educators, because most parents have taken great initiatives to mitigate the challenges that educators are facing in their schools. We want to thank them for that. But then there is also the observation that is brought that says, can teachers not teach good manners? This is the essence of the new curriculum. It is founded on the philosophy of Ubuntu Wunu. And we want to inculcate those aspects of our culture which we should continue to perpetuate to posterity. And those are the aspects that make us who we are as Zimbabwean. The Zimbabweanness is seen in the value system that we're now incorporating in our education system. And that's what teachers are doing. We may not be pronouncing every day on what we are doing, but the activities and the subjects that we're giving or that we're giving to our students are building up to that kind of culture. And the other two questions says duty free. Yes, true. Duty free is extended to senior educators. It was discriminated against the junior ones in order maybe to encourage people to stay long in service, which we've been fighting hard to get reversed, because that's not the best way of attracting people to the teaching profession as we see it today. We want these people to also to benefit, because they were saying 10 years and above. So that's the issue of seniority is not really the best criteria. It's discriminatory and therefore does not attract people to the profession. We've been talking to the ministry about it. But that is open to all teachers anyway, and they're getting it. And the teachers associations too many, yes, this is true. We seemingly have come to a situation where we have, if not commodified, we have also politicized the trade union movement. And that is why we find this fragmentation, and with some, of course, being aligned to certain ideologies as opposed to the laborist theory that should be directing our thinking and vision as we go in. This is what ZIMTA would like to see. But as the oldest union in the country, the largest the union in the country, our desire is for unity of all educators. But we can't stop people from forming their own associations, because it is also their right given to them by the Constitution, and is also given to them by the international law, where there is freedom of association. And that freedom of association means that you should be free to join any trade union of your choice, or form a trade union or a federation of your choice. That kind of freedom is opening up the space. But it is only the reasoning that must say to the teachers, united we stand, divided we fall.
0719498651. Let's take another call. Radio, good morning. Yes, good morning. You're live on Classic 263. Okay.
It's an appeal to the government. I think I say right now zvaoma inflation iri kutrova zvaoma zvokuti hapana munhu acharamba namirira ita zvinhu. So ngoti kune parent wega wega hurumende itibvumidze kupawo macontributions kumaticha. Maybe kana tikakwanisa kuindisa 2 liters yemafuta zvizvozvo zvisarambiswe tibvumidzwe because zvinhu zvaoma. Isusu tinoda kuti ticha wedu atiitire vana vedu muklasi. Handiti ndikaenda ne2 liters yangu yemafuta zvive pamurawo handibvunzwe handimanikidzwe, but zvinoda kubva pasi pemwoyo. Maheadmasters ataure nevabereki ticontribute nepatinokwanisa. Aindawo ne2 kg yerice zvichienda towards our teacher. Aindawo nebar sipo ndiye titobatsirana because hurumende yacho haina mari, its crying every day. Because problem yatiri kusangana nayo handizivi pamendinokanganisa all to be corrected. Inyaya yekuti mapolicies they must be there kawani kana even government inozouya, but panoonekwa pane mapolicies enyika asingangochinzwi minister because minister anongati we are now changing this into this, especially zvinhu zvinenge zvana minister of finance hazvifaniri kungochinzwa masensitive areas ekuti zvinofamba kutogarirwa pasi if they are changing something kuti vazive kuti iye zvinotiti ari kumusha munomuka makabvara ikoko. What do you want him to do? Anoshanda sei? Tinofamba kunge zvichidebetwa parliament kuti tovhara here kana kutorekezi tisege kuita zvokuwandirana because it's money. Imari yatitakashandira, imari yatakashanda ikaenda mumabasement.
I'll ask you to conclude. I'll ask you to conclude because we want to give an opportunity to other listeners to call in as well. Thank you.
It's rather better you go to the parliament, don't debate, they go to be.
Thank you very much for your contribution. We'll ask you to keep your contributions as short as possible. Radio, good morning. Hello? Good morning, you're live on Classic 263.
Ndanditi zvatichangwana baba wabva unotaura hazviiti tinenge takutopromota corruption muno munyika medu, asi hurumende pachayo ndo inofanira kuona kuti vangaite sei kuti zvinhu zvigadzirike, vana vedu vagone kudzidza muzvikoro. Zviri kutotirwadza isu sevabereki kuti education yatoparara, hurumende yakatarisa isina action ainotora. Ngavagadzirise ipapo.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Let's take some more messages coming through from our WhatsApp platform. And the only profession, at least better, is nursing due to NGOs. The rest, police, army, prisons, and other civil servants are in the same basket. Jubalala, thank you very much for getting in touch. Good morning. It's a nice discussion to kugadzirira kuenda kubasa. All right, Hansi, ngati ngawati nyarariro zvavo haana kurongeka, mari yavo vari kupiwa yakawandisa chaizvo. Kana vachiri kuenda kubasa zviri right kwavari, kana zvaoma vacharega havo. Munoti hurumende haina mari here to pay civil service mari chaiyo. Problem ndeyekuti mateachers munonyengererwa mobvuma zvisina basa, gore rese matalks esalary mukuraisa mamwe civil servants. All right, so thank you very much for that contribution. Morning, Val. The new curriculum was introduced without much needed consultation. It also came at a time when meeting every day needs is next to impossible, with it demanding more than any good education scheme should. One wonders if someone is not imposing it just to benefit themselves. There is need to go back to the drawing board. Is there need to go back and relook at the new curriculum? I think that's the question that they're asking. Some of the teacher associations have taken a political stance to these welfare issues. The problem is when is then that you get a political response. Yes, the discrimination. Your guest is talking to real issues that need a holistic approach from the government, parents, and the educators. Daniel in Chitungwisa. Thank you very much, Daniel, for getting in touch. Morning, Val. It's the teachers alone who have allowed politics to divide them and reduce their value. They don't speak with one voice. Today, PTUZ says this. Zimta comes and say we are not part of that. So vacharamba vachitariswa pasi. Wake up and smell the coffee. Look at what doctors are doing. Pastor Ngoni, thank you very much, Pastor Ngoni. Let me take this last one, which simple says, wow, this call I agree 100%. Yeah. Mr. Love, your response to the contribution, I think
thank you very much.
quite
quite a number, yes. I think the other issue was the appeal for intermediate intervention by parents.
Yes.
And the other caller brought in an area of saying that would bring about corruption. I think this is an indication that we had so many years back about this debate, where we talked about teacher incentives that were being awarded, and we came to a conclusion that the teacher incentives that are awarded desperately across the country are divisive and inequitous, and at the same time they are not sustainable. So this parent is talking about the issue, can they sustain? If he is unable to sustain himself that kind of intermediate donation, that means he is seen differently at the school. That's the beginning of discrimination. And if the teachers who are getting that at a particular school, and in a certain school they're not getting it, then it now talks to the economic endowment of that community. Can the community sustain that? That is now dividing the teachers themselves. So we came to that conclusion that this kind of a policy was divisive, unsustainable, and inequitous. And that is the basis under which it was dropped. And in favor of a holistic approach where government takes it as a responsibility. What we would be asking parents to do now is to lean heavily and support, talk to the parliamentarians in their areas, talk to the education officials in their areas, that this is to be addressed by the country. And if we talk to government will understand the masses better than the teachers themselves. So I think that is one good help that would ask the parents to do in support of this effort, so that it does not come back to drain them in various ways. They pay fees and at the same time they sustain teachers. It's not easy to sustain a professional in that kind of format. Besides, we'll be running down the profession. It is a very good gesture, but the gesture may have these kind of ramifications, unfortunately. Then he talks of the issue of talks never ending. Yes, it is true. This is because of our current system of discussion, consultation with government. We do not have a negotiating forum with government. What we have is a consultative forum, which is as a result of a statutory instrument. And because that statutory instrument has become moribund, the statutory instrument has become an ineffective instrument for addressing our needs. We are campaigning very broadly for the amendment of the Public Service Act to include the provisions of the Constitution as given in Section 65, so that we too can be afforded an effort to conclude issues.
I'm sure the volatile and unstable economic environment also forces you as well to always go back on that consultative table and negotiate and renegotiate the salaries for the teachers as well.
The rule of law says what is available is the path that we're using. We're using the same path to change the path. So we go back in the interest of that what is legally admissible. Not that we like it, but we are aware of its pitfalls and we've been fighting against that. There is an issue that look at what doctors are doing. I think the assumption is, I don't want to talk to what they have done. I'm not sure what they have done. We would like to learn from them what they have done. But I thought I saw them a few weeks ago also struggling to get an improvement on their working conditions. Talk for instance, a doctor says, I have no gloves, but he has got to take a needle, prick you on the finger or on your whatever nerve and draw some blood for a laboratory test. how does he do that in an environment where we are with so many diseases? Is it likely to do that? So by law, when that person gets to that level, he is allowed really to protest very vehemently and to protect their health. So we cannot say that's the same with educators. There are these some very small differences in the way we work on the condition of service. So we may not probably draw the best lessons out of that on using that element alone.
And before we conclude, because we're running out of time in a minute, Mr. Ndlovu, your final word to the teachers out there as we look ahead to World Teachers Day, as well with its theme and the theme that I'm sure you'll be aligning yourself to as well, going ahead in the future of the Zimbabwean teacher.
My appeal is for the authorities in Zimbabwe to address the issues that are bedeviling the teaching profession, with the hope of celebrating the teachers, the so many dedicated teachers, the thousands of them that are in our system who are delivering education under very difficult circumstances. It is important that the learning opportunities of our learners are enhanced by the state, by funding education sufficiently. And my advice would be that Treasury, the Ministry of Finance, must always take heed so that it does not only respond to situations that are always coming as a matter of emergency, because we don't want to get into an emergency position. That would be an unfortunate development.
Mr. Sifiso Ndlovu, the Zimbabwe Teachers Association, ZIPTA Chief Executive Officer, I must thank you for picking up our call and coming through to the grill this morning and responding and to share with us part of the commemorations about World Teachers Day and the welfare of the Zimbabwean teacher and what you envisage for the future of the Zimbabwean teacher. I must thank you for making time.
Thank you very much, and thank you listeners also for the contributions.
Well, so that's all we had for you on the grill this morning. I certainly hope you did find the grill informative, educative, and above